A state law says students have to get 90 minutes of physical activity in school every week, but an annual report shows 36% of school systems failed last school year, including several systems in our area. Normally, 14-year-old Isaiah and his sister Gracie get some kind of exercise after school because it's important to their mom.
I want them to get plenty of exercise on a daily basis and take care of their bodies.
But a new annual report by the Tennessee Department of Education shows 5 school systems in our area didn't make the grade for physical activity in school during the 2014-2015 school year.
I was surprised as well.
Greene County had the worst compliance issues in our area. Only 7 out of the district's 16 schools met the mandate, which says kids have to get 90 minutes of physical activity per week in school. Director of Schools David McClain believes his district was in compliance and says part of the problem could come from self-reporting done at the local level.
Maybe some of the reporting at the school level, they weren't aware that we could utilize things such as recess.
Carter County came in second. None of its 5 high schools met the requirement. Danny McClain, secondary supervisor for the school district, says it's tough to do at that level.
There's, with all the other ACT prep, the new RTI requirements, with all the academic requirements, it is super hard to fit that into a high school schedule.
Even though the 90-minute per week rule is in place at school, doctors say that is nowhere near the amount of physical activity kids need today.
You should really get 60 minutes of moderate to high activity every single day.
Dr. George Ford with Niswonger Children's Hospital says around 20% of kids in our area are overweight. Tennessee has the 5th highest childhood obesity rate in the nation.
For the first time in many generations, children are experiencing type 2 diabetes. People who trained me never even saw that in children, but I see it almost every day.
Carter and Greene counties are now consulting with state officials and thinking of new ways to fit more physical activity into already tight schedules.
Maybe it's during lunchtime taking a break, walking around the track, going to the gym.
Something this mom supports.
They go to school to learn. They don't go just to exercise, but they do need to get that just little bit of exercise in at school.
School systems may also be struggling to meet that mandate because of a recent state law that was passed prohibiting systems from counting walking time between classes. When that was allowed 2 years ago, state records show Greene County was the only system with compliance issues. Worldwide, more than 3 billion people are on the internet today. That's billions of messages, emails, and pictures being exchanged at any given time on hundreds of websites and apps.
If you have the internet, you have a child predator problem.
95% of teens are online in America. Statistics show 1 in 7 have received an unwanted sexual solicitation over the internet. In many cases, victims of those sex crimes say they willingly met their predator face-to-face, and more than 90% of the encounters included sexual contact. Alan Flora is the commander of the North Carolina Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force.
They find them through online messaging apps or some type of online communication, and they tell them what they want to hear.
Nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains sits this small town, Boone, North Carolina, with only a population of about 17,500. But it's this small town police department that is making big waves in catching online child predators.
We're still surprised about it.
Police Chief Dana Crawford heads up the Boone Police Department. It was only a year ago that his officers stumbled into this online predator world while investigating a vandalism case of all things.
Once we started investigating that and doing search warrants and searching computers and telephones and about conversations, we came to find out that there was this other world that existed in some of the suspects that were involved in that.
From there, the department became proactive, going undercover online as a 14-year-old girl, responding to personal ads looking for a young and inexperienced girl, friends with benefits, and the younger, the better. Police also set up an online profile of an underage girl, and it only took days for people to reach out, asking for pictures and arranging meetings for sexual purposes.
One of the suspects traveled all the way across the United States on a motorcycle from Oregon.
Their undercover stings have resulted in 8 arrests over the last year, including an out-of-town college professor, all charged with multiple felony child sex crimes.
We're very excited about the work that Boone Police is doing.
Boone Police Department is now teaming up with ICAC,
Learning the values.
a federal program that helps state and local law enforcement agencies with training and investigating these crimes. In 2014, ICAC conducted more than 58,000 investigations, leading to more than 8,000 arrests. There are dozens of ICAC affiliates across the country, including 4 right in the Tri-Cities region.
Altogether, I'd say 80 to 100 cases a year, easy.
Detective Matthew Price with the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office stays busy in the digital forensics lab, doing everything from undercover work similar to Boone to helping other agencies investigate allegations of child sexual exploitation.
You know, there's people out there that want to prey on children and want to hurt kids, and you know, that's why we do this, to try to stop it.
And that's why Boone Police wants to see other law enforcement agencies across America make this a priority.
Well, you can see the numbers that we've generated in the past year. One little small town in western North Carolina. But what if everyone was doing that?
Until then, Boone will keep at it, on and off the clock, to protect our children. Sydney Cameron, News Channel 11 in your corner. The charge is for every school bus to have a car-like seatbelt, and it's easy for parents to agree, but for school districts, the answer isn't that simple.
Wake up! I like to be in control of their safety.
As a mom, Karen Hallman is always watching over her 2 kids, and that includes making sure they get to school the safest way possible.
I'm worried about the other drivers on the roads, running into the school buses.
So she drives them both, for one major reason.
Because they're wearing seatbelts.
That's why she's on board with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's push that school buses should have seat belts. The agency estimates 4 kids die every year on large school buses, and seat belts would cut that number in half.
As long as Kingsport City Schools has maintained their own buses, we've had seat belts.
Transportation Director Tommy Starnes says as far as he knows, they're the only district in Upper East Tennessee with them. Kingsport City Schools have had this shoulder harness seatbelt system since 2010, but if other school districts want to buckle up, it's not going to come cheap.
Probably looking at somewhere around $1.4 million to do our fleet.
Washington County Director of Schools Ron Dykes says the Board of Education has looked into this before, even reaching out to NHTSA.
School bus, which is really exceptional. Safest mode of transportation for students.
It would cost around $8,000 to retrofit each of its 110 buses with seat belts, but with NHTSA changing its stance,
I think most definitely it's worthy of revisiting.
I don't think you can put a price on a child's safety.
For Karen, the decision is easy. Sydney Cameron, News Channel 11 in your corner.